right here. We're gonna lay it down for game number 1. Let's jump in with Taki. Absolutely, that's what we're gonna see unfold here as the action is gonna pop off. Pepper being popped here for Glaze.
Ooh,
Though looks
we
like
got Glaze pushed up into a fight right now. He's popping the peppers. Talking about mobility. One of those few types of mobility we actually have that you can pretty much just go this much faster into the boxes to try and get in and try and put down some damage. But looks like his opponent was ready for it too. Glaze has got the speed, but whoever he's versing has got the defensiveness out right now as well. They're kind of holding their own right around that orchard area, so it's a pretty contested area, but I imagine there's got to be one of the only people here, and that is it. Game 1, maybe Glaze marking his drop spot here at orchard.
Here's a quick replay to face Dubs though, Aussie, and it looks like we're going to be able to see how things are kicking up with him. This is one of the more exciting players, of course, and he's going to find himself a nice little one piece to kick things off. So looks like things are looking good for Dubs.
Yeah.
Now Booga Cup back to back, and here he's returning for the FNCS solos competition, so it will be no surprise to see Dubs at the top of the food chain. But we have a fight popping off here with Bucky now. Bucky's looking to get the tags. That's a white one right there.
25 tag, not too heavy with that green charge. One more, you got to think it'll do it though. It's got to do at least, what, 75 damage. This player goes down an 85. There it is, just enough though. That was close, not being enough, but Bucky backed his aim there straight through the box. We're seeing a lot of aggressive fights breaking. He talked about the food chain here. Bucky, someone who is known to be the top of the food chain, especially in team game modes.
They have had an idea they were somewhere nearby, and yes, there it is, the defensive ramps inside the base. He's trying to get into the thick of it here. Quick little edit is going to force him to hop on in now, and there it goes, the body shots, and just like that, clicks, gets put down really quickly here by Day. That's a free point for him to start off his competition.
Yeah, it's looking really good for him at the moment, and it might kind of address Storm Surge for those people who maybe are more casual at home. I know Zeke welcomed you. If it's his first time watching competitive Fortnite, maybe you aren't as accustomed to Storm Surge. Actually, maybe you'll have to wait with this thought process, because looks like he might be getting a bit of a scrap. He's boxed up here. This player is aggressing, pushing out 71, edits out Jaith, who we just saw at Authority above Cease, has now made his way out and got into a questionable fight here with Cozzy's. Not really sure what that was. Walked up to the wall, went to make it look like he was going to make for a play, and Cozzy's just didn't give him the second to do it. Edits out and just shuts him down there with a green tack. Mexican players, South American players who are playing on these NA East and sometimes NA West servers as well, and they are incredibly good players, and they're often playing on some of that higher ping, but it doesn't seem to affect them at all. You watch them play and you would not be able to tell, but usually it comes from that smarter game sense, that knowledge and that ability to move around the map and maybe not have to rely on those quick, fast, aggressive takes and interactions that we see from a lot of the other players.
Just by rule, checking all of the bushes. You talk about just being cautious here. Someone was trying to sneak up on top of Scope, and this is going to be a big problem for the player here now. It's a full-on push from Scope. This is a freebie opportunity, knowing that he does not have any shields. And yes, of course, he's going for the box fight and the boost here. There's no crash pads, though, so he's going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, to push on through with the AR, to charge up. And yes, he's going to find Tricka right here. That's going to be a big point for him, and a frag that's going to cap him back off. Very dicey, very congested though for the NA East competitors. Now zone's going to reveal itself. It's only just a bit forwards. Player that I see fall there though was Cammy in the feed, but hold up, Riverson's got a problem of its own. He's going to get it. It's going to be a Minish that he catches, and the Siphon's going to convert as well, and Riverson gets the refresh that he needs.
And I think we're going to see again today, maybe Riversound can pull it off, but Scented popping off in the most recent Booger Cup round 2 and in the semifinals today. Someone to look out for from that West contingent, and then see how they can manage to keep up the consistency. LFN, another player that's doing well. SMG only, doesn't actually have the SMG in the inventory, has the 6 crash pads though. Ooh, gets the elimination onto Saf. Big name we haven't talked about much today, but that is a huge player to go down in these stack lobbies. He probably has almost more competitive experience in these lobbies than anyone else here today.
I agree with that, absolutely. And I just wanted to talk about that for a second. I was going to say, well, the only player struggling right now is Owl and Saf, who kind of work that he has to go ahead and excel, even on finals day. We'll see if it's something that he can do today. But Accept here is going to find Adrian with a massive headshot with the legendary burst rifle here right through the cone. He was just trying to get his peek on, and all of a sudden he gets crashed on through just like that. 10 players have to go down within the next 6 seconds, though. We'll see if Storm Surge gonna go ahead and happen here. Regardless of what though, Avery still in the games here. I see Rocks down on the side there. Vix, who's been on fire as well, played well during the Booga Cup. And just talking about the Booga Cup, we saw a player like Fishy who was in the top 5 and did not qual through today, so that anything can happen. Regardless though.
Oh, gets the refresh. Little Ale on edge zone. Those big refreshes on edge zone can be super important. If you wait even like maybe 5 seconds before you go for that refresh, that's when zone starts moving, and that's when you're back on the back foot. But closes that one out quickly like he needs to. Gets a bit of a mat refresh. Only one crash pad, unfortunately. Doesn't have the launch pad either, but on this edge of zone, gets another refresh. 4 points on the board now, 3 eliminations. Little Ale's looking for 4. My gosh, he is walking through the lobby on this far edge. Most players will try to avoid fights on the far edge of zone when they have to rotate, but no, Little Ale just conditioning his rotate by taking everyone else out around him. Has the crash pads now to try and make his way through if he can, and there it is, the community launch pad, but there's 2 community launch pads. Little Ale gets to hit one, and now he's looking at a good rotate too. This tree cover is going to be massive for him. Launch padding into zone can just give him that cover from getting sprayed from everyone else, and look at that, just gets straight to front side. Such a good spot to be in for free.
And this is yeah, like you said, and just look at his material, right? He managed to pick everything that he needed up. 4 elims is massive coming into the mid game, guys. We're not even talking, you know, the first full moving occurring just yet. So with that in its own, he's so ahead of the competition right now. Let's take a look here though with Kanata. Kanata has truly excelled as a solo player, but I was just gonna say, Aussie, this time around it's just slow for him.
He's looking really good right now, and he's been proving himself as a solo player in those less stacked lobbies. He has been one of the most consistent in cash cups in previous seasons and this season now too. Want to see if he can pull it out in a stacked lobby now. He's a smart player, and you can just tell from his rotates he's doing really well, and I think a lot of that game knowledge is probably picking up playing with Creo and Bucky in trios, where they've just been destroying stacked lobbies and trios. Would come into play here today as well. As much as it's a team game mode versus solos, that knowledge and the way you play the end games and the intelligence that you have to have is definitely still going to be there as he tries to make his rotate. I say intelligence, I think that just came down to pure reaction time. Tarp straight out of player, leaves himself open. He gets the edit, but Kanata just shoots back a bit too quick and a bit too hard for that player. Now Kanata's going to start pushing his way through, breaking the crash pad in front of him so he can hit the launch pad. I thought that was a strange break. So many crash pads down. Shion Bowler talked earlier about recyclable mobility, and there is so much in the game right now. Unless you pop those crash pads, they're lying all over the place for anyone to use. We've got a nice wide shot here. I see Kalazo here. I see Grazka still looking really good. Dubs pushing up for that high ground. Someone to watch out for. Commandment on the front side. Scoped is in there as well. This game is looking incredibly stacked as we try and close this one out. Get our game 1 winner. And this is going to be the person who kind of marks their authority on this tournament, starting off strong. We've seen so many big performances in these stack games like Arkham and Stretch start off in the lead and not lose it for the whole tournament, as Bucky utilizing that mobility with those peppers to get straight to front side. Now he's going to look back and see if he can get some clean eliminations, try and find someone. He's got 2 on the board already, doesn't need too much of a refresh, still has 84 builds, has the crash pads as well, so he is looking great. Edgy picks up an elimination on Avery, Scope taking down Saucy in the feed too. This is when the lobby is going to start thinning out. We get another rotating zone, a good spot for Bucky. Looks like he's going to go for these crash pads straight out of the box. Such a nice little play. Doesn't opt to use a second one, just wants to prioritize getting to the front side here and just having that control. Bucky is in full composure right now, still has those spare meds as well. Doesn't need to go too aggressive. He has everything he needs to close this game out. He's just got to be smart with how he uses it. It's in a pretty congested layer. Looking around for these eliminations to see what he can find on this congested tarp. If he gets back out to front side, gets in that clear, gets a breath of fresh air, it's going to be a lot more comfortable for him. But I say comfortable, he is looking really good right now. He is in full control. Finds his player in the cone, breaks out the floor, gets the cone through, has the wall edit. He is doing an edit course on this player in the end game. Bucky takes down Rehan.
That was big right there for sure. Bucky now coming out on top with his 3rd elimination. We're talking about it, 8 points here in the competition. This is where the placement points really start to ramp up here, Aussie. And I mean, he's doing great. He's got the crash pads and he's got the minis to go with it as well.
He's in everything he needs. He's got 54 builds left as well, which with these layers going back through all these builds, he has enough to make it through if he needs to. I want to see who's possibly on high ground as Clicks takes down Dubs. That is 2 big names going toe to toe. He's using those crash pads to break out those builds in front of him, make sure no one's lurking behind him. He is just in full control right now of this endgame.
I love that he just did that as well, right? Like just scouting that information and try to gather what he can. But now this is where Bucky shines best, right? These box fights. You put him in the end game, he's going to do what he does best. 18 players as we're trying to round this out to the final zone. Only a minute and a half. The lobby has to fall now or it's going to be really, really nasty soon. We're going to find out though. Bucky looking to continue to push his way through for placements. Now playing for a little bit more high ground. And I think he's on second height more or less. So he's going to become the factor, right? The focus point for the player up top. But if he goes for height, Aussie, he's playing for first place right now.
He's playing for first against this caddy launcher, against that shockwave launcher. It can be very, very difficult. Never mind. Gives it up, drops straight down onto Clicks. Thunder pumps him in the back. He gets him down with that charge shotgun. Hits a bit of the emote too. This is the composure we talked about. Bucky is in his element. He knows how to play these stacked games. We see it Steelsy on high ground. We have Assault, Grazka, K-Jorp, Bucky dropping down on Edgy. That is two huge names going toe-to-toe on the low ground. Whoever wins that has such a better chance to close this out. Bucky has racked up 5 eliminations now on this low ground. 6 of those crash pads, but I don't think they're going to matter. Holding his angle, steps around the corner. 53 with the charge, takes down Grazka. It is a 1v1v1 right now. Steelsy, I have to imagine, is still on that high ground. That shockwave launcher will most likely be the difference to close this game out. We've seen it time after time on the high ground with low builds. Bucky gets in with a 133. He weakens Assault. Is it enough for Steelsy to close it out now? Bucky takes his toll in the lobby. Assault just trying desperately to claw his way back in to get above. And no, there's not much he can do. Steelsy has the materials. He has that mythic item. Can Assault somehow make a miracle out of this one? 27. He doesn't have the health. I think Steelsy's going for the heal off. I think he knows if he doesn't have this, Assault goes up. It's a last-ditch effort, but it's not going to be enough. He falls. Bucky had a phenomenal performance, but Steelsy on the high ground steals this win.
That was so close, going both either way. Assault though with the second place, Steelsy with the victory, and you got to respect it. 5 big eliminations.
19 points, 5 eliminations, and the victory royale. Bucky, though, you kind of touched on it. Great performance, only 3 points behind, and Assault holding down third.
Yeah, we had a lot to say about Bucky and Assault after that last game, but Steelsy should be the person to watch as he's got the best position